I want to talk to you about something that's been weighing on my mind, and I need you to listen, really listen, because what I'm about to say might save you decades of pain. That goal you're obsessed with, the salary, the title, the Instagram life, the perfect relationship, whatever it is you think will finally complete you, it won't. I know that sounds harsh. I know you don't want to hear it, but I'm Robert. I'm 81 years old, and I wasted 60 years believing the exact same lie you're believing right now. 60 years. That's not a mistake. That's a lifetime. And I'm standing here at the end of mine trying to hand you something I had to learn the hard way. So give me 15 minutes. Because maybe, just maybe, I can spare you the heartbreak I went through. We're all running the same race. We all tell ourselves the same story. When I lose the weight, then I'll be confident. When I make partner, then I'll relax. When my kids are grown, then I'll have time for myself. When I retire, then life really starts. I said those exact words. Every single one of them. And you know what happened? I lost the weight. I made partner. My kids grew up. I retired, and nothing changed. Not the way I thought it would. Because here's the secret nobody tells you until it's too late. The goalpost moves. Every single time. You think you're sprinting toward the finish line, and the moment you cross it, you realize it wasn't the finish at all. It was just another starting line. I ran that race for 6 decades. I'm exhausted just thinking about it. Let me tell you who I was. Who I really was, not the version I showed the world. I came from a neighborhood where nobody had anything. My mother cleaned other people's houses. My father drove a delivery truck. We weren't starving, but we were invisible. I remember being maybe 12 years old, standing in the grocery store with my mother. The owner treated her like garbage, talked down to her, made her wait while he helped other customers. And I watched my mother shrink. She apologized for existing. Something broke in me that day. I decided right then that nobody would ever make me feel small. I was going to be important. I was going to matter. People were going to know my name. So I did what you're probably doing right now. I worked myself to death. 70, 80 hours some weeks. Weekends didn't exist. Vacations were a waste of time. I missed my daughter's dance recitals. I missed my son's graduation. I was there physically, but my mind was always somewhere else. Always working. Always climbing. By 48, I had everything I thought I wanted. Senior partner at the firm. 6-figure salary. House in the suburbs. People knew who I was. When I walked into a room, heads turned. And I felt absolutely nothing. Well, not nothing. I felt hollow, like I'd spent 30 years building a beautiful house and forgot to put anything inside it. I remember one night, sitting in my home office at midnight, staring at my computer screen, thinking, this is it? This is what I sacrificed everything for. But I couldn't stop, because if I stopped working, I'd have to face what I was feeling. And I didn't know how to do that. It took me 25 more years to understand what was really happening. 25 years of therapy, meditation, failed relationships, and eventually a heart attack at 73 to finally get it. Here's what I learned. I wasn't chasing success. I wasn't even chasing money or status. I was chasing worthiness. I was trying to prove I deserved to exist, that I was good enough, that I mattered. And I thought the proof would come from outside, from achievements, from bank accounts, from other people looking at me and thinking I was somebody. But worthiness doesn't work that way. You can't earn it. You can't buy it. You can't force other people to give it to you. Worthiness is something you claim for yourself. And I could have claimed it at 20. I claimed it at 75. That's 55 years of my life spent trying to earn something that was already mine. Same pattern showed up in my relationships. Different story, same mistake. I thought if I earned enough money, if I bought the right house, if I gave my family everything they needed, that would be love. That's what love meant, right? Providing, protecting, making sure they never struggled like I did. So I provided. God, did I provide? But my wife didn't want a provider. She wanted a partner, someone present, someone who actually looked at her when she talked instead of scrolling through emails. We separated when I was 51. Not divorced, separated. She said she needed space to figure out if we had anything left worth saving. And I was furious. I'd given her everything. The house, the security, the life she said she wanted. What more could she possibly need? She told me something I'll never forget. She said, "Robert, I don't need you to work harder. I need you to be here. With me. Not for me. With me." And I had no idea what that meant. Being with someone versus providing for someone. They seemed like the same thing to me. It took years of couples therapy for me to understand the difference. And by then, we'd lost so much time. I look around at people my age now, 81 years old. Most of my friends are in their 70s and 80s. Some have already passed. And I've started to notice something fascinating. The miserable ones are still keeping score, still comparing, still angry about what they don't have. I know a guy who's 87 years old and he's still bitter that his brother made more money than him. 87. Still competing with a ghost. I know a woman who's 76 and every conversation is about loss. Her health isn't what it was. Her grandkids don't visit enough. Everything is a complaint. She's been unhappy for as long as I've known her. And she'll die unhappy because she's waiting for the world to change before she allows herself to feel okay. But then there are the others. The ones who figured it out. They're not wealthier. They're not healthier. But they have this lightness about them. This acceptance. They're not trying to be anywhere other than where they are. My friend Dorothy is 79. Lives in a small apartment. Doesn't have much money. Her body is failing in all the ways bodies fail at 79. But she's the most alive person I know. She reads constantly, asks questions about everything, finds joy in small things. A good cup of coffee, a conversation with a stranger, a sunset. She told me once, "Robert, I spent 60 years trying to become something. Now I'm just trying to notice things. It's so much more interesting." That's the difference. It's not circumstances. It's not what you have or don't have. It's whether you've stopped running long enough to actually experience your life. You want to know what freedom actually feels like? Not the Instagram version. Real freedom, I'll tell you, it's not having a fat bank account. I know plenty of rich people who are prisoners in their own minds. Can't enjoy anything. Worried about everything. Convinced it's all going to fall apart. Real freedom is when the things that used to control you don't anymore. When someone insults you and it doesn't ruin your day. When you're not constantly scanning every room for approval. When you look in the mirror at an 81-year-old face and think, "Yeah, okay, this is me. And that's all right." Real freedom is not needing the world to be different for you to be okay. That's internal work. That's spiritual work. And most people never do it. They spend their entire lives trying to rearrange the furniture outside while ignoring the mess inside. Here's the trap. And I want you to really understand this because it's subtle and it'll destroy you if you're not careful. You think getting the thing will satisfy you. It won't. There's always another thing. I paid off my mortgage at 55. Thought I'd feel relief. Thought the anxiety would go away. You know what I worried about the next day? Market volatility. Healthcare costs. What if I outlive my savings? What if this? What if that? The fear didn't disappear when my circumstances improved. The fear just found new costumes to wear. And that's when I finally understood. The fear isn't about circumstances. The fear is me. It's my mind looking for problems because looking for problems is what minds do. The only way the fear goes away is when you change your relationship with it. When you stop believing every story it tells you. When you decide you're going to be okay regardless of what happens. That's an inside job. No promotion can do that for you. No relationship. No amount of money. You have to do it yourself. Everything I thought I wanted, the career, the money, the house, the respect, I didn't actually want those things. What I wanted was to feel secure, to feel valuable, to feel loved. And I was looking for those feelings in all the wrong places. From my job title, from my investment portfolio, from strangers' opinions of me. But those feelings, security, value, love, those come from inside. I could have given them to myself at any point. I didn't need to earn them from the world. I just needed to stop rejecting them in myself. Accept that I was already secure, already valuable, already loved. Not because of what I did or didn't do, but because I exist. That sounds simple, I know, but it took me 6 decades to really get it. And honestly, at 81, I'm still practicing. Still catching myself falling back into old patterns. Young people think happiness is at the destination. Old people know there is no destination. You get one thing, another thing shows up. You solve one problem, another one appears. That's not a bug. That's life working exactly as designed. So if you're waiting for everything to line up perfectly before you allow yourself to be happy, you'll wait forever. Something will always be wrong. Something will always be missing. Always. The journey is the destination. I heard that phrase 1,000 times before I understood it. This moment right here is your life. Not tomorrow. Not after the promotion. Not when you finally get your act together. Now, if you can't find peace in the process, you won't find it at the finish line either. I promise you, I've been to the finish line multiple times, and it never feels the way you think it's going to feel. So here's what I want to leave you with. Stop postponing your life. Stop saying, I'll be happy when. That's the biggest lie we tell ourselves. I believed it for 60 years, and all it gave me was 60 years of waiting for my life to start. Whatever you think you need to be happy, you don't need it. What you need is to decide that you're enough right now, today, exactly as you are, with all your flaws and failures and fears. You're enough. You don't have to prove it. You don't have to achieve it. You don't have to wait for someone else to confirm it. You just have to accept it. I'm 81 years old. I've made more mistakes than I can count. I've chased things that didn't matter. I've ignored things that did. I've wasted decades running from myself. But the one thing I know for absolute certain is this. Everything you're searching for is already inside you. The peace, the love, the worthiness. It's all there. You just have to stop running long enough to feel it. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Someone grinding themselves into dust chasing something that'll never make them whole. And tell me in the comments, what's your I'll be happy when? What are you waiting for? What would shift if you decided right now that you're already enough? Thanks for listening to an old man ramble. Subscribe if you want more of these honest conversations.